Now we come to the second match of the day between Morocco and Iran. Both have been fantastic during their qualifying campaign. Both unbeaten. Morocco were appearing in their first World Cup for the first time in 20 years since their appearance in 1998 at the France World Cup. They beat Scotland 3-0, but a last-minute winner from Norway denied them passage into the second round. Morocco were in fact the first side to progress, African country to progress into the knockout stages, and that was at the 1986 World Cup. Interestingly enough, they defeated Portugal 3-1 to progress, only to be knocked out by Germany in extra time. I think it was a free kick from Lothar Matthäus. Morocco were absolutely fantastic in their group. They didn't concede a single goal in 6 matches, and they were actually in a very tough looking group containing Gabon, Ivory Coast and Mali. The eye-catching result of the campaign. They didn't. I think the first 4 games. I think they didn't score for the first throughout the first 4 games, but they rounded off and they smashed Mali 6-0. They beat Gabon in the penultimate game 3-0, and then they finished it off. I think they beat Ivory Coast 2-0 away from home. They're coached by a very respected coach, Renard, the Frenchman, who brought success. He won the after being sacked at Cambridge United in 2004. I think he was there for about 6 months. He sought his fortune. I mean, he sought his future in Africa, and he's become very successful. He amazingly brought success for Zambia at the African Nations and followed that. He has also won the African Nations tournament with Ivory Coast, which is not as much of an achievement as it is with rank outsiders Zambia. Morocco, they have several players. I mean, one of their star players from '98, Mustafa Hadji, is now one of the assistants for the team. And for them, just as it is for Iran, it is their World Cup final. With Spain and Portugal within this group, it was necessary, it was imperative that they put on a performance, and they won this game. It's really, really important. And same for Iran under another foreign coach, Carlos Queiroz, the formerly at Manchester United. He's been coach of Iran for 7 years. He took them to the last World Cup. In 2014, they could only score once in 270 minutes. They were stubborn, strong. They were very defensive in 2014, but recently they've been able to have more of an attacking threat within the team. They will qualify. They were second qualifiers of this tournament, behind Brazil. After Brazil. So yeah, like I said, they didn't have much difficulty in qualifying for this World Cup. Ahead of from the Asian section. I think they conceded 5 goals, I think, during the whole campaign, if I'm correct. I mean, a lot of their players recently, 9 out of the 23 players that went to the World Cup in Brazil were based in abroad. Since then, Queiroz has kind of like pushed. There's an agenda where he'd always push like the players to move abroad, experience, and improve their games. Obviously, playing in the higher leagues and that, in more higher class leagues, they were obviously sure to improve themselves. So they were talking about Iran still. They've been the highest ranked team in Asia for many years, for at least 4 years now. And it's the solidity, toughness to them, everything. They're very compact. So for the game, I mean, to the game, it was never going to be a high-scoring match, considering how fragile these guys with how very they didn't concede goals, as we've touched on. But to be fair, I mean, Morocco started very swiftly. They looked a class above Iran. They was attacking from the wings. Iran was struggling. Morocco had a few half chances. They could have taken the lead, and yeah, so it was. I mean, Iran really looked up against it in the early stages, but 20 minutes in, they found the composure and they started to string passes together. And in fact, they came the actual closest to scoring, where they sprung the Moroccan defence, and yeah, they were quite unfortunate not to take the lead. So still, Morocco just yeah, they seemed they were still on top. They had the possession, but Iran just were totally unlike Saudi Arabia. They were just throwing themselves on the line, thrusting themselves at balls, jumping in front of shots and everything. So yeah, so Iran weren't about to implode like Saudi Arabia. And then Iran started the second half in confident mood. They were passing the ball well. Morocco kind of like petted out that they weren't as effective as they were in the first half, and they seemed to have lost their cohesion. And yeah, they just didn't seem like Iran was. For me, that they were definitely on top in the second half. Morocco hadn't lost in 18 games, 19 games, and yeah, so it was just petering out to another like stalemate. And but then just right at the end, at the death, Iran get a free kick and it comes swinging in, and the head of a Moroccan just sends the ball low into the corner, and Iran win their first game in 20 years. It was quite yeah, like Bouadouz heads it into his net, and Iran win what for them was the World Cup, and they keep their lives. I mean, they keep themselves in with a chance of qualifying. As for Morocco, you can't see where they can go from here. I mean, unless they produce a stunning performance and defeat the European champions Portugal. But I mean, it's highly unlikely. But they did defeat them in 1986, so maybe they could get some inspiration from that victory. Boudabala fame. Yeah, so it was, but we shall see. But Morocco totally deflated, and yeah, Iran successful for only their second ever win at the World Cup. We shall see.